Praia. It is the capital, so there is a lot of people. And compared to the other areas that I was in, Praia was huge. And there's a lot of missionaries, and our areas they're not that very big because you just walk everywhere. And if you want to get somewhere a little bit further away, you could take a taxi or a bus. But the people there are very open and very friendly. You walk down the street, and wherever you are in Praia, there's just a lot of people everywhere. And you hear music all the time coming from different little tiny like markets. And from like little tiny restaurants all over the place. So there's always just a lot of noise. And the people there are, they're friendly, they're outgoing. They are Catholic, right? And so one of their traditions is that when they're in mourning, like when somebody dies, they wear all black, like the family. Everything they wear is black, and they will go for like, depending on where you are in the family, like if you're just a relative or you actually are like the family, like spouses will wear 2 years, all black for 2 years, or the kids will go a year, and maybe like cousins will go like 6 months, stuff like that. But that was something, that was a tradition, a big one on that island, especially in Praia, compared to other areas or other islands. I didn't see it as much. And so you always know who was in mourning because they were wearing black, and you could go up and you could talk to them. And it was easy to talk to them about like the plan of salvation because they just lost somebody. And so that was a tradition. And in Praia also, I think, I would say it's a fact, people there know how to read. Especially like the older people, the older generation. For example, like if I lived there, my mother, she would barely know how to read, right? But like in the other areas, but in Praia, the older generations have more education and they understand Portuguese more than in other areas, and they know how to read. So they understand you if you give them like the scriptures. They get it. And that to me was interesting because my first area, I didn't get that a lot. Like older people knowing how to read. But being in Praia, I didn't have to worry about it so much. The women, they sell, a lot of the women, they sell fruit or produce like out on the street, or fish. And a lot of the men work in construction. A lot of the men also are taxi drivers, and on Saturdays and Sundays, you will see all the women washing their clothes, and they will outside of their houses or up on their roofs, and it's really easy to make conversation with them or to help them because they're washing their clothes, and it's not easy. They put all of their clothes in like this big, how would I say it? It's not like a bucket, but it's just like a really big bowl. It's just like huge, and it's plastic. And then they have this, how would you say it?
A washboard?
Yeah, they had like a washboard, and it had like ridges. And so they would have like a bar of soap, and they would just like get their clothes wet and just rub the bar of soap on their clothes and just like bater roupa. That's how they say it. And so on the weekend, that's what the women would do. They would wash all of their clothes, and you would just see the clothes all lined up out on the street everywhere you went. Just the clothes right outside there. And sometimes you would see like the women also like washing their dishes outside. They spent the most of their time outside of their homes. And so you would see that a lot. In Praia, you would also see the them killing animals, getting slaughtered on the street. So don't be shocked by that. If you see that, it is normal. Them killing pigs or sometimes cows. Sometimes you would see a herd. Is that what it's called? A herd of just like cows crossing the street, in on some of like the little suburbs. You would see like the shepherds, like with their goats, like out on the streets, taking them out. And that's like the capital. And you'll see chickens running around sometimes. And the little kids are always outside on the street as well, all the time, and they're the cutest. And like I said, they're open, and so they always say hi to you when you walk down the street. Bon dia, and they kind of know who you are because it's a tiny country and the church is pretty big there. So people are calling you out all the time. I served in Asamada, and it's on like the main island. I served in Praia in an area called Monte Vermelho. And then I served in Santa Maria on the island of Sal. It's a touristy town. And then I served just for 2 weeks on the island of Santo Antão in Porto Novo. And then I served in Cova Figueira, which is like the inland part of the island of Fogo, where the volcano is. And I served back in Praia, in another area called Tira Chapéu.